Good evening to you viewers. Welcome to the 6 p.m. primetime newscast on Equinoxe television this Thursday. I am Innocent Aze. In our major stories, 3 suspected murderers of the young gendarme lady in the Cotton neighborhood Douala 5 subdivision on the night of June 11 to the 12th have been apprehended by security forces. One was picked up in the north region and the other in Eboloa south region. They were all presented to the public today. Finally, Kylian Mbappe, Franco-Cameroonian striker, has arrived Cameroon this Thursday afternoon via the Yaoundé-Simalène International Airport. Amidst tight security, he was welcomed by state authorities and huge crowds. Those were top stories. Good evening to you once more, viewers. Thanks for joining us in this edition of the 6 p.m. newscast on Equinoxe television, where we're broadcasting live from Douala, the nation's economic capital. Now we begin by talking about Kylian Mbappe, the Franco-Cameroonian footballer. He is in Cameroon. He landed with his father, and that was at the Simalène International Airport in Yaoundé. Kylian Mbappe, who plays for France, arrived Cameroon this Thursday, to be precise, Thursday afternoon in Yaoundé. He was welcomed by state dignitaries amidst tight security. A huge crowd of Cameroonians and foreign nationals gathered to see the Paris Saint-Germain striker. In amateur images, they scrambled to do selfies, take pictures and videos with Kylian Mbappe, the winner of the Golden Boot Awards of the 2022 World Cup in Qatar. Visits Cameroon for the first time with his father, Wilfred. Kylian Mbappe will be in his home country, Cameroon, for 3 days. During his stay, he will participate in some football activities, meet with government authorities or government officials, most particularly the Minister of Sports and Physical Education. He will also shake hands with Fecafoot President Samuel Eto'o and the Fecafoot family, including Rigobert Song Bahanak and the entire senior men's football team. He has the Franco-Cameroonian will as well donate humanitarian aid and visit his father's nation or his father's village. And now we talk in security, to say security forces have not been asleep ever since their colleague Valerie Jock was aggressed and killed by hoodlums in the Cotton neighborhood in the Douala 5 subdivision. The intensified investigation, which finally resulted to 3 suspects arrested in different towns. Their arrest comes after the Divisional Office of Douala 5 subdivision launched a raid and an operation to clean the municipality from criminals. Malak Glory reports.
3 suspects who have been on the run for weeks have finally been arrested by gendarmes and police officers. They presently in detention, facing a murder charge for the killing of Jog Janina, a gendarme officer who was stabbed to death in the Koto neighborhood, Douala 5, on the 11th of June 2023. The incident occurred while she was returning home. We were chased by some bad men who seized my neighbor's handbag and pushed us to the ground. She immediately got up and struggled to hold one of the guys. She said she is a gendarme officer. That was when she was stabbed. And off they disappeared. Investigations stretched from Douala to Ebolova and Mayo Ulu North region. The 3 aged between 20 and 23 were arrested and transported to Douala thanks to the joint efforts of the gendarme and the police officers under the supervision of the regional delegate for national security.
Nous avons réussi à interpeller les brigands. Le premier.
We succeeded in getting the 3 suspects. We caught the first suspect on the night of 23rd and 24th of June in Niala neighborhood. The second, we caught him on the 1st of July in the locality of Mayo Ulu. And the third suspect, we caught him in Ebolova. We then transported them to Douala.
Dans la ville de Douala. Il se trouve en ce moment dans nos géoles.
At the end of the reconstitution, the security officers sent a strong warning to men of the underworld that
En synergie, nous sommes déterminés.
we are determined to search and fight such hideous crime in the littoral region. We shall track and neutralize them.
Neutralisés. Nous allons les pourchasser jusqu'à leur dernier retranchement.
Nos condoléances les plus attristées à...
We send our sincere condolences to the family, and we must say it's a sight of relief for us to see those killers arrested.
des assassins est un vrai soulagement.
The authorities, according to them, have met the objective, which was that of tracking down the killers before the victim is buried, after the corpse removal from the military hospital this Thursday, July 6th.
We now take you to the west region of Cameroon, precisely in Pachi Zegacham village in Banka, where a 70-year-old man was found hanging on a cocoa tree. The wife and children of the deceased confirmed he went missing for a day, but after a search, he was found in his cocoa farm. It is still unclear if he committed suicide or he was killed. We have more with Ese Lucy Liango.
Shock and disbelief hits the population of Pati Zegancham village in Banka, West Region, as the lifeless body of a man, Dedri David, was found in a cocoa farm. The 70-year-old was discovered by his son, who alerted a quarterhead.
C'est tout à fait pathétique parce que
it is so painful. His son informed me this morning that his father hung himself.
que son père s'est pendu.
His wife Chamo Marie says she left the house while he was still asleep. Returning home from the farm, my kids informed me that their dad left the house as usual with his wrapping of medications and water. Since yesterday, I have been looking for my husband. Informed about the incident, local authorities visited the scene where medical checkup carried out confirmed that he allegedly committed suicide.
Et le constat fait tel que on a des signes de souffrance.
We noticed signs of suffering from hanging. His tongue was out with blood, showing he beat himself. So we hope that investigations be carried out and law take its course. Notwithstanding, the commander of the Banka Gendarmerie Brigade says investigations have been launched to determine if it was suicide or murder case, while the body will be buried.
Now, in the Fako division of the Southwest region, taxi drivers in Limbe say no taxi will circulate in Limbe at night if the current harassment and extortion from uniformed officers persist. They will no longer work at night until the situation is resolved. For me, Armstrong Sana reports. We'll be coming back to that report, and for me, Armstrong Sana, in a subsequent edition of the newscast. Now, we talk about 16 people, including 3 children, who were killed by a leak of a toxic nitrate gas being used by illegal miners to process gold in a settlement of closely packed metal shards. South African on Wednesday, and in South Sudan, the United Nations condemned sexual violence against Sudan women in the ongoing conflicts in the country. Mala Glory has more in our international page.
At least 16 people were killed by a leak of a toxic nitrate gas being used by illegal miners to process gold in a settlement of closely packed metal shacks. The victims, including women and children, died from gas inhalation at an informal settlement in Boksburg, east of Johannesburg. Wednesday leak has been linked to illegal gold mining in the area. Nitrate oxide gas is often used by illegal gold miners, known locally as zamazamas, to extract gold from soil stolen from abandoned mine shafts.
definitely came from a gas leak, potentially from what you would refer to as illegal miners, zamazamas, a dwelling of zamazamas, and that leakage actually was inhaled by members of the community, and subsequently they found themselves in the situation where they passed on.
One of the gas cylinders was found leaking in Bucksburg's densely populated Angelo Shanti town. The victims were found within 100 meters from the scene. No one was taken to the hospital, according to the emergency service officials. But a few more bodies could be found overnight as search and rescue teams continue their work.
From the last, gas explosion, it was a very sad day for people of Boksburg, people of Guruleni. We are hoping that this number would not escalate, and that the search, of course, has been happening in other dwellings, in other shacks or homes, to actually see if there are no casualties inside the homes.
This tragedy comes 6 months after a gas tanker explosion on Christmas Eve, which claims 41 lives in the same town. And in Sudan, the United Nations has condemned what it called rising sexual violence against women and girls in the country in more than 2 months of conflict. The United Nations Human Rights Office in Sudan said it had received credible reports of more than 20 incidents of conflict-related sexual violence against at least 57 women and girls. It said that in one incident, as many as 20 women were raped in the same attack. The United Nations chief humanitarian official, Martin Griffiths, said it was unreasonable that Sudan's women and children were being traumatized in this way.
Osmala Glory reporting. Permit us come back to this report for me, Armstrong Sander, where taxi drivers in Limbe, Fako division of the southwest region of Cameroon, said no taxi will circulate at night in Limbe if the current harassment and extortion from uniformed officers continues. They will no longer work at night until the situation is resolved. His report. Of course, for me, Armstrong Sander, with that report. And now we take you straight away to talking points, and today we'll be having as guest Jato Richard. He is a freelance journalist in Bamenda Northwest region. We'll be talking about the Prime Minister's visit. Good evening to you, Jato, Derek, and welcome.
Thank you, Innocent. Bakwa town has been very beautiful today. We got up this morning with very beautiful weather, sunny, and of course all activities have been going on with taxi drivers, people going to their job site, and of course, you know, school children are on holiday, so many kids are either in the farms or with their parents, some around market area, trying to assist the parents. So I can say Abakwa town today have been relatively calm. I know when people ask how is Abakwa, you want to hear that there are gunshots, people are shooting left and right, but I think by the grace of God today has been blessed. It's been a nice day today.
Well, we'll also be finding out from you if you have used the Babaju Bamenda roads recently. What's the situation?
Work in Bamenda is honestly an apology. It's not the best. It's for the past 7 years that in Bamenda town, you know, there have been a lot of cry about the nature of the road, potholes left and right, you know, people, taxi drivers, bike riders, pedestrians have been going through a lot of hardship with regards to the road network. It's true that from time to time you get the city, the Bamenda City Council, the Delegation of Public Works, they come up with some repairs on the Commercial Avenue stretch, the Mile 2 stretch, and of course course, the Sonat Street, but this usually lasts just some few weeks or months, and then we go back to the same, permit me use the word wahala. So the town is really going through a lot of sufferings as far as the routes of the network routes in Bamenda is concerned. And of course, the cry of every Bamenda man is the road. It's really an apology. Many taxi drivers need to change their tires several times a week. You know, so many parents find it difficult to catch up with time at work because there is, you know, the traffic jam that is very continuous, mindful of the very poor nature of the road. But promises are usually being made and the expectations have been there. It's getting to the 7th year today. The population is still believing and hoping that something better would be done for the old glory days of Bamenda as far as the roads are concerned to come back. But I can't, I would not be honest to completely say that is the entire Bamenda. Like Upstation, in some places around the Bamenda 3 around Quen, where the mayor of the Bamenda 3 have done some good road network out there. Up towards the Bamenda 1, they still enjoy some good road network, but around the Bamenda 2, it's really come and see. It's an apology. The commercial avenue remains as beautiful because it has been like that. Cow Street stretch, yes, but Sonat Street, the Ayaba Street, the Mile 2 junction, right down to the Amumezam stretch, all of that has been a nightmare. This is the main street I'm talking about. But when you have to talk about roads into the quarters, you know, it's really an apology. Coupled with the garbage, you know, so many persons find it difficult getting into the paths to their homes. That is why it's now just very common that we have more of bike riders getting people from junctions into the quarters.
Thank you for painting the situation of the road networks in the city of Douala and also into quarters. What I want to find out from you is if you've used the Bamenda Babaju stretch of roads recently, what is the situation after reconstruction works were announced many years ago? Has it been any change?
I've actually used the Bamenda stretch of road these days. I've used it and I'll be using it in a couple of days. But to say that at that level, there's some work that is being done. It's now making traffic a bit smoother than it used to be. But for some areas where maybe bridges are expected to be constructed, where work has not actually been completed, but to say that the road is what it used to be, I would say no. There is some development that the road has greatly improved. The minister actually was there just a few days back, and the expectations of the Bamenda population are that the road is done so fast to its completion, because the expected date is December this year, and that the roads too in Bamenda join in the bonanza of beautiful roads. So city dwellers have been going faster now on that lane. At first, people entered Bamenda around 11 o'clock from Douala or Yaoundé or Boya. But these days, 6 a.m., you get buses bumping into Bamenda, which means it's a bit smoother than it used to be. And it's important that the roads are done because issues of insecurity too are very hardened on the population, mindful of the nature of the road. So if it's quickly done, faster to the deadline, I think it's very important. But so far, it's not as bad as it used to be. It was quite bad some years back.
And many persons expected this road project to be delivered and for circulation to be flexible. But the contractors on their part said the delay has been due to separatist menace. Do you accept this?
That separatist bad works to be done on the roads, Bamenda Babaju Bamenda Road. Satom, the company, was given the contract initially, and they suffered bends on their caterpillar, their trucks, and all the lights. So they became reticent with regards to doing the job. And so what government did was they had to contract local companies to get the job done, and it took some time, for a lot of education to be put out on the need for the separatists to understand that the job was necessary, you know, for the region of the Northwest. Irrespective of the crisis, this was work to be done for the Northwest region. And I think with the fact that some companies are already doing the job, and so far they have been doing what we have seen on the Babaju Road, it shows that there have been some level of understanding by those who actually did not think that the road should be done. So there is no more a lot to be talked about with regards to the fact that separatists do not want the work to be done. I think every other person who is a Bamenda child has accepted that there is need for roads to be done. After all, it's for Bamenda, it's for the region. So I think that argument is no longer holding. If contractors are still, or the local contractors who have been given the job are holding on to that, I think it's important for them to improve on communication and education and get to business for the job to be done, because holistically every other person, whether fighting, whether in conflict, whether in crisis or whatsoever, everybody accepts that there is need for our roads to be top, to be best. So I don't think that argument holds again.
And with the arrival of the Minister of Public Works, Emmanuel Ganu Jomesi, the contractors also told him that poor weather contributed to the delay of these works. Tell us, how true is that?
The minister even came to Bamenda. He had been to Bamenda before. Then the Prime Minister of the Republic of Cameroon was in Bamenda. All of them have spoken about the roads and promised that the construction work will be done. They even gave, you know, time limits. But I think after the Prime Minister went back to Yaoundé, it seems as if they got to realize that there were so many issues that were up with the road as far as the sponsor, the World Bank, was concerned. They discovered that there were some persons whose property were destroyed in the process of expanding the road for construction. And of course, the Bamenda City Council had requested for additional dimension, unlike what was previewed initially by the World Bank. And so these were some of the issues that actually caused the delay. And the Prime Minister must have understood this very well after quitting Bamenda back to Yaoundé, that there were so many other things still to be handled. And the Minister of Public Works have been holding, you know, meetings in his ministerial department with the contractors and authorities of the region with regards to the road. And so his coming this time perhaps is because much has been put in place, some funds made available as he announced, as we can already see from the Babaju Road. So his coming was actually a booster, and we just hope that he's going to push forth and make funds available, make controllers speed up their work and studies so that the work is done. Honestly, Babila, what a Bamenda man wants is the road. All the literature of the Prime Minister, whatsoever, World Bank studies and all whatsoever is not the interest of a Bamenda man after all these years in the challenges of using their road. They just want the road done. So I think the minister understands that very well, and there are expectations that it will go better.
From you directly, are you convinced the minister's arrival will change the situation of the Matazim Bamenda roads?
With you and viewers of your TV program, I prefer to reserve my comments on the visit of the minister and his promises. I prefer to reserve my comments. I hope you spare me this, just this. I don't want to make any comment on that. Thank you.
And concerning the minister's visit, still after the Prime Minister came to Bamenda, he promised the population that reconstruction works will begin and will certainly be realized. And now it was failure, and the Minister of Public Works, Emmanuel Ganu Jomesi, is coming to make another promise. Are you convinced that these works will actually be realized in December?
Minister head of government came to Bamenda and spoke and left, and we were there to interview him as journalists. We spoke with the Prime Minister. We came on the air and assured the population that the roads were going to be done before the end of so many Decembers that have passed back, and we didn't get to that point. So if you ask me whether the Minister of Public Works has come, coupled with the Prime Minister's visit, whether it's going to actually, the works will meet the deadline this December, I prefer to say that I would not want to go again public to tell the population that the deadline will be met, that I trust, because we have said that before, and this can easily put our credibility at stake. So let all of us move to that December and appreciate whether the work is done or not. But sometimes this, the Prime Minister, the ministers could have good faith. Nobody knows what happens, so it's better we all move to December so that we are very sure what we're telling our population.
Just to ask you, what will actually change if the minister's promise comes true?
Minister's promise of December deadline comes true, the population will get more confidence in their government. That is the truth. But if it comes not to be true, that the roads are completed in December, the mistrust will not be there, will just continue because it's already there. People no longer trust, mindful of the many promises that have not actually developed to realization. So if finally the roads are done in December, the population will be happy. They'll increase confidence building in the government. But if it doesn't work out that way, then they just pick up the opposite of confidence, which is mistrust. That will not be you or my making. It would have just been the population appreciating how it ended.
And now, you earlier said that there is calm in Bamenda. Just to find out from you if this will encourage the contractors to move on with works, and hoping that they will not give another complaint if the works are not realized in December, that separatist menace actually halted the works.
Well, I said Bamenda is calm, but Bamenda can be calm with us who don't hear gunshots, who probably want to go to the market, want to go to our job sites, and want to see old people go to the hospitals. As to the contractors, it can be calm, but if they don't have the finances, then it is financially not calm on their side. If they don't have the technical know-how to complete the road, it is not calm on their side. If people who are in the corridors lobbying to have huge percentage are putting the things so difficult for them to take off because of personal interest left and right, then it's not calm on the part of the contractors. And if the weather too is not the best because it's very rainy now, they may still have their excuse. But our hope, all of us in Bamenda, our hope is to have good roads. Let anything be done, just give roads in Bamenda, people will be very happy.
Some people say works will stop immediately the minister leaves. Before you go, what do you think and advice you give to the minister?
Whether the minister, if he goes, the job will stop. I want to tell you, Babila, that I'm from Nous. Those of us from Nous, we speak Zimbum. That is the language we speak in our village because we had our parents as we grew up speaking Zimbum. So if people think the minister will go and work will stop, it's also because they have had the experience before that ministers have come and gone and the road did not continue as they promised. And you say, if I have a word for the minister, yes, I want to thank him for having come to Bamenda, thank him for having actually advised that the work should continue, and also urge the minister to put an eye that the work continues and even faster, because this would give government credibility. If not, why not?
Thank you so very much, Jato Richard. I recall that you're a freelance journalist in Bamenda. You were speaking there, of course, on the visits of the Minister of Public Works, Emmanuel Ganu Jomesi, in Bamenda to assess the levels of work ongoing at the Matazem Bamenda Road. And according to you, you say calm now is reigning in Bamenda in the northwest region these days. Hope it continues that way. And to you viewers, want to thank you as well for being part of this edition of the 6 p.m. newscast on Equinoxe Television. Thanks. Have a nice evening and stay put to programs on Equinoxe Television. See you tomorrow.